Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to this online conference from the ZalaZONE Automotive Proving Ground. We are close to the city of Zalaegerszeg at the western border of Hungary. First of all, I honestly hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy in these unprecedented times. We are facing a completely new challenges. We have to rethink almost every aspect of our daily life because of this COVID-19 pandemic. But at the same time, this is an opportunity to find new ways of collaborations, communications like this online conference, etc. We don't know yet how the automotive industry will be affected by this crisis, but one thing is clear. The thinking forward attitude, the proactivity is always a good and successful way to behave. My name is Zoltán, and it's my pleasure to be the host of this online conference today. Today we would like to give you a quick overview about the ZalaZONE, where are we now, about the facilities, about the new and existing modules, about the currently available services at the ZalaZONE Automotive Proving Ground. You could get insight into the scientific research and development activity which is accomplishing with the collaboration of the Proving Ground, and you will be informed of the newest achievements as well. We have 5 keynote speakers today, and it's our pleasure and honor to have the Minister for Innovation and Technology, Professor László Palkovics, who is responsible not only for the innovation and technology, but also for the restart of the Hungarian economy, which is a huge task, I'm sure. On the top of that, he's leading a group of doctors, epidemiologists, even mathematicians or network researchers to understand the spread of this virus, COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, please welcome the Minister for Innovation and Technology, Professor László Palkovics.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much that you accepted our invitation. Frankly speaking, when we set the target, I guess 5 years ago, that on 21st of May, we are going to celebrate every year something new, which happens, what happens to the test facility or to the autonomous vehicle industry in Hungary. I guess none of us thought that we are going to meet this year because of this virus via internet and via this video streaming. Nevertheless, as Zoltán mentioned, we need to get used to this kind of new things. Also, the autonomous vehicle testing is a sort of virtuality because the driver is virtual, so somehow it fits out of this. So let's see the positive side of this. Today's presentation, I want to start with something what I haven't thought that I will do that. First of all, I would like to show you some information about how the economy in Hungary looks like and how are we going to develop the economy and what kind of measures the Hungarian government has taken in order to reduce the impact of the virus. In 2008, when we had the crisis, I worked at a company Knorr-Bremse, and that crisis was somewhat different. That was a structural crisis, well, concerning the economy, and that was a very deep and very quick crisis. This is somehow different from that because this crisis is caused by a virus and sort of well, missing trust. So that's the reason that we need to find some solutions how to boost the Hungarian economy, how to protect the Hungarian economy right now. As it was mentioned here, we are also dealing with the analysis and simulation and sort of prediction of the pandemic situation. This is some experience which is very, very interesting. I hope that we are going to profit out of that when we come back to our normal daily life, let's say to the engineering. This is a know-how what we didn't want to collect, but we did, and we need to build on that somehow. Nevertheless, the Hungarian government a little bit more than a month ago put together an economic protection action plan, which targets on the bringing the economy through of this complicated phases, and at the same time, parallel to that, we need to start think how our economy will look like afterwards. There's a reason that we divided this plan into 3 phases. The first phase is over. This what we started immediately when we have seen that the virus is going to hit us. This was the reorganizing the credit plans, giving immediate support to those economic members, like, for example, tourism, hotels, restaurants. They got an immediate support. Beginning of April, we advertised the second phase of this economic plan. That's what I would like to introduce shortly. And also I'm going to talk about the third phase, which we are already starting, which is how to boost the economy. So let's have a look what is the amount of the financial support that the Hungarian state is going to spend on this. Here you can see in the European Union, in comparison to the GDP and also in absolute values, that how much money the economies are going to spend on this. Well, first, Germany with the roughly 1,000 billion euros is leading this game, and I think that it has also a very important message for us. Hungary is very much connected to the German industry. When the German industry is going to operate and going to start, then it is going to bring us together. Now, of course, we need to do our homework as well. This package what I'm going to introduce here, it's altogether about 28 billion euros. It is 20% of that in comparison to the Hungarian GDP. It is 20%, which is a significant amount. And if you look at, for example, Austria is spending also a significant amount, 38 billion under crisis. That means that all the economies which are similar somewhat to us, they are doing similar things. Nevertheless, the 20% is quite a significant package. It has 5 different elements, amount which is spent directly on the disease control. So this is out of which we are going to acquire the protective equipment, rebuild or build the new hospitals and emergency centers and so on. So this is the direct cost of the control system. The second is the workplace protection. This is where we said that we are going to spend a lot of money in order not to lose jobs, or let's say create additional jobs. This is also quite a significant amount here. The third, which is the largest block, this is provide liquidity, provide money to the economy in different forms, and including also tax breaks and also investment incentives. Here we already think on that. How can we, on one hand, protect the Hungarian companies well against some unfriendly acquisitions, but on the other hand, how can we help companies who are healthy to acquire other companies and increase their activities in the future. So this is the structure. This is the amount. The structure, we have 5 different submodules, and the first, of course, to preserve the jobs. Well, nothing worse if somebody is losing his job, not just because of the living, but also it creates an emotional problem, and it's very difficult to retain that afterwards. That's why the primary target was from the beginning, still is today, to convince the companies and help the companies to keep their working places and keep their employees. The second, of course, it will not be always successful, so people are losing their jobs, to create new jobs. We started programs, I will show you the figures afterwards, that we are creating several 100,000 new jobs, either giving subsidies to companies in order to build up their system, or if it is not enough, then we are going to create, or we are creating right now, state jobs. We defined several priority sectors where we need to give most of the support. Besides of the general issues, these were hit by the crisis very badly. This is where we need to act immediately. Liquidity and also different type of other fundings, either capital or loan. This is also a big part of this package. And well, it stays at the last point, but I should have mentioned at the beginning: protection of families and protection of the vulnerable groups like pensioners. This is also an important element of this program. Just giving you some examples how this program is built up. As I said, first is giving some mentions to the employment cost. Well, in Hungarian it is called Kurzarbeit. We haven't found any better Hungarian word for that. Well, simply we have taken over what the other countries are doing, and we introduced this short time work regime. There are different elements of that. It seems that it works quite well. We have a specific element. I think that it is interesting to say here today at the research and development facility. We also give subsidy 40% of the total personal cost for people in the research and development and innovation. Well, simply for engineers who are working in this field, the companies will get subsidy in the magnitude of 40% of their complete personal cost. We also made several legal changes in order to be able to manage the time more efficiently. We introduced the overtime working compensation scheme from the current 6 months to 2 years. Companies have bigger flexibility, and there are different tax reliefs which are offered and which are given to the companies, and also we reduce significantly at several points administrative burdens. And I need to say that this will stay afterwards as well. So whatever we introduce now in the crisis, and if it works, then we are going to stick to that, because we simplified several processes. The second big group of actions, this is where we want to generate new jobs. We have a training and education subsidy type of solution. We looked around at, on one hand, what can we do today when we cannot come together. So normal training would not work because the people cannot go to the school because of the social distancing and many other complexities. That's why we were focusing on a type of education, what we can do in e-learning or remote learning form. And we found digitalization as a good field, and the informatics at different levels as a good target. We announced a single program. This is a basic education for informatics, and well, we are also surprised that over 50,000 people applied for the job. The first 3 months is the first period until the end of the summer. It is a basic, it's a foundation period, and from September on, we are going to give higher education. We also defined different investment support programs in the magnitude of almost 300 billion Hungarian forints. Here, there are 2 requirements. One requirement is that the company must continue his investments, and we will give to each of these 800,000 euros, well, foreign, but 800,000 euros, and at least they need to add additional 800,000 euros to that. The other requirement that they should keep all the jobs what they had before. This is a very successful program. We started with 50 billion. That was very quickly over. Now we added additional 50 billion. This is also over, so seemingly we need to increase that. We also announced a new call in the same magnitude. for the companies with the same conditions, but the target here is not the new investment, but the structural changes, how to change the energy structure, how to change the financial structure, technology changes. These are all financed out of that. So it's a very similar program, but the requirement is to do structural changes in order to increase productivity, in order to increase competitiveness. We also support in different ways different type of investments. We also started to have a infrastructure development program, and it's very important again here today. The last point, reorganized the research and development fund, and we created a special fund, so roughly 10 billion Hungarian forints. 30% of that goes to the direct research of this pandemic situation. It can be research of the virus, the RNA structure, but it can be also a simple design. Well, it's not simple, but the design of a respiratory device. We are very successful with that. Yesterday, if you go to the YouTube, you are going to be able to follow this. We had a very successful scientific conference, very short, and gave information about all these programs. The third element, we analyzed those industry benches which are suffering a lot. I'm not saying that the automotive industry is in a good shape, or not in a bad shape, but there are some which are pretty much hit by this current situation, by the virus. Here we define the complete package for tourism, for film design industry, health industry is playing a very important role here. We learned a lot actually what type of equipment, medication is not produced in our community, and we are very much depending on other countries. In the future, we need to take consequences out of that. Food industry, the construction industry is suffering as well, transport and logistics. So there are many others. These are the industry benches where we said, okay, we define special programs besides of the generally available programs. As I said, I don't want to spend too much time on that. You can follow it on the government websites and also our own websites, the different type of loan solutions and also capital programs to protect property. Here we talk about altogether 2,400 billion Hungarian forint altogether. This complete program is around 9,200 billion Hungarian forints. This is which corresponds to the 20% of the total GDP. So this as the program looks like. And the last point, as I mentioned, we need to have a special care for those who are more vulnerable, and we don't want to stop these kind of activities, protecting the families, and especially protecting the pensioners. We are going to reintroduce the 13 months pension as well in order to make the life of the people easier. So this is roughly the program. I don't want to spend more time on that. I would like just make a sort of introduction to this today event here, and my colleagues are going to talk more about the current situation at the ZalaZONE Proving Ground. As I mentioned at the beginning in the introduction, we wanted to celebrate every year on the 21st of May the next phase, or whatever we elaborated already. So far we are quite successful with that. Last year we had phase 1 over. Phase 2 will be next year, but this is an interim step what we would like to inform you about. So I think that there was no new thing here. The mobility remains on a challenge, and for mobility, especially for the industry, we need to have special solutions. One of the special solutions is the autonomous vehicle, and this autonomous vehicle design requires special facilities. The facility what we started to build in Hungary is a special testing facility for classic vehicles, but also for autonomous vehicles. Currently, I think that this is the most modern facility in the world of this type. Here you can see the layout, but it will be introduced in more detail afterwards. we need to be proud of this. Basically, the concept what we put together in 2017, we are realizing the same concept. There are some minor changes, as it seems from the feedback of the customers and also from the research community. We haven't made too big mistakes. As you can see here on the left-hand side, the concept, and you can see what is being realized on the right-hand side. This will be introduced in more details by my colleagues. Status is, well, we talked about the phases. The phase 2 we are currently in. Phase 1 was finished in 2019. That was what celebrated, and now we are working on a phase 2, and phase 3 is going to follow in a short time. Oops, sorry. One more. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say, and now I would like to give the word to the next speaker. Thank you very much. Okay, sorry, don't forget to wear this. Okay.
Minister Palkovics, thank you very much. I mean, if I'm thinking about moving and mobility, the safest possible way nowadays to change place is sitting your own car with yourself. I mean, with your family members. But let's continue, and we would like to give you a quick update on the construction status of the ZalaZONE Automotive Proving Ground. I kindly asked Ministerial Commissioner, Parliamentary Representative László Vigh to have a few words.
Nagy tisztelettel köszöntöm mindenkit, aki figyelemmel kíséri a mai konferenciánkat.
Hello and welcome. We are more and more viewers join us live on this online conference.
3 évvel ezelőtt úgy döntött a magyar kormány, hogy felépítjük 265 hektáron 45 milliárdból Zalaegerszegen egy járműipari tesztpályát.
So 3 years ago, the Hungarian government decided about the implementation of this proving ground on 265 hectares from 45 billion Hungarian forints.
Nincs a világon még egy ilyen tesztpálya, amely mindegy 65% készültségben van csak kész, és az elkészült pályatesteken már most tesztelnek.
So we are more or less 65% ready with this proving ground, and we are using these modules continuously.
Elkészült a Z fogadóépületünk, mintegy 2000 négyzetméter alapterülettel.
A Z-shaped reception building with this reception area of 2000 square meters is ready.
Amelynek az alsó szintjén konferenciákat, a felső szintén irodákat rendeztünk be.
And you can organize some conferences and events at the first floor or the ground floor, and on the first floor you can find some offices.
Az épület rendelkezik azzal a képességgel, amelyben igény van rá, az épület nyugati feléről személyautókat és kisebb terautókat be lehet hozni az épület együttesbe.
So even cars and maybe small trucks can drive in from the west side of the building.
Elkészült a technikai épületsorunk.
We have the technical building, as you can see on the picture.
Ahova 16 személyautót és 6 terautót lehet egyszerre bevinni.
That includes a workshop for 16 passenger cars, and there are 6 workshops for cars.
Ezt úgy kell elképzelni, mint a Forma 1-en a boxok.
Just like the pit buildings on the Formula 1 for World Championships.
Az a tervünk, ha teljes kihasználtsággal megy a tesztpálya, egyszerre 5 cég mintegy 70 autóval tud itt tesztelni.
So at the same time, 5 different companies can test its 70 cars at the same time.
Ez azt teszi lehetővé, hogy különböző elemek között belátásgátló dombok vannak, és nem látja az egyik tesztelő cég a másikat.
So you can test your cars completely separately, and other companies can't see what you are doing actually with your car.
Elkészült a kerelhetőségi pályánk, mintegy 2 kilométeres szakasz.
We have the handling course. It's about 2 kilometers long.
ahol a menetstabilitási rendszereket, a fékrendszereket, a kormányszerkezeteket és a sávtartó funkciókat fogjuk tesztelni.
And we can test all the driving stability systems, the steering, the braking systems, and also the lane keeping functions of the cars.
Elkészült a dinamikai felületünk, amely egy 300 méteres átmérőjű kör, egy 800 méteres ráfutóval.
We also have this dynamic platform with a 300 meters diameter circular track with 800 meters runway and return path.
Ez az egyik leguniverzálisabb pályaelemünk.
This is one of our most universal module on the circuit.
Ahol különleges akadályok nélkül tudjuk tesztelni az autókat.
We can test the cars without.
Alkalmas arra a pálya, hogy ha egy 8 kamion megy egymás után 50 cm-re követi az egyik a másikat, az 5G, az 5. generációs infokommunikációs rendszeren keresztül képes arra, hogyha az első kamion vészfékezést hagy végre, mind a 8 abban a pillanatban megáll.
If we have 8 trucks at the same time on a circuit behind each other, 50 meters distance between the trucks, and via the 5G network, if the first one makes a heavy braking, all the others can stop without any collision.
Itt szoktam elmondani, hogy alkalmas a pálya jávorszarvas teszt kipróbálására is, mikor megyünk az úton és nincs arra időnk, hogy fékezzünk, ezért valamilyen sebességnél lehet, hogy 100 vagy 130 elrántjuk a kormányt, tesztelni lehet azt is, hogy az autó meg tud-e maradni, nem borul-e fel, nem csúszik-e ki, erre az tesztelésre is alkalmas tesz a dinamikai felület.
So this dynamic platform, this module is suitable also to carry out the so-called moose test.
Elkészült a fékfelületünk.
We have the braking platform here.
Egy 800 méteres ráfutó után 8 4,5-5 méteres sáv áll rendelkezésre 200 méter hosszan.
We have this 800 meter runway path to the braking platform with 8 special different surfaces and different grip levels.
Ilyen elemek található rajta, mint a sakktábla felület.
We have elements like chessboard surface,
ahol a normális, a gyantás felület váltja egymást.
Different grip levels and surfaces.
Kerámia felület.
Ceramic surface.
Amely ha vizet kap, tulajdonképpen mintha jégen fékeznénk, ez lehetővé teszi, hogy nyári időszakban is a téli teszteket végezzünk el.
We can simulate also winter conditions because it's like if you will drive on ice, if we use enough water, of course.
Lehetőség van ezen a fékteszten arra is, hogy a 2-es és a 3-as pályát egyszerre használjuk, hogy egyik kerékkel, a bal kerékkel mondjuk a második sávon, a jobb kerékkel a harmadik sávon fékezünk. Ez különböző menetstabilitási gondokat okoz az autónál, erre is alkalmas ez a fékteszt.
We are able to test one car on different surfaces on the right side wheels and on the left side wheels.
Van olyan felületünk, amely teljesen betonnal fedett.
We have tarmac surface.
Van az akvaplatina, ahol 1 cm-es víz fedi az teljes pályatestet.
We have aquaplaning test module.
Itt, amikor nyáron autózunk, és van egy felhőszakadás, és a tapadás korlátozott, ezt próbáljuk tesztelni ezen a felületen.
As the aquaplaning, of course, with 1 centimeter deep water on the whole surface.
Ezen a héten adtam át ezt a pályaelemet, szenzációs fotók készültek, az a kérésem, hogy a Facebookon tekintsék meg.
You can check my Facebook sites for the latest fantastic photos of this module.
Ki fenn van a Facebookon. Elkészült a Smart City első 5 hektárja.
In addition to the first 5 hectares of the Smart City zone is ready.
Alapszinten már elkészült a hozzátartozó másik 13 hektár.
And the foundation of another 13 hectares are also prepared.
Belvárosi, külvárosi és különböző olyan szituációkat alakítunk ki, mint az Zalaegerszeg belvárosában autóznánk.
We can imitating let's say the urban environment, just like the downtown of Zalaegerszeg.
Ez egy közel 20 hektáros kis Zalaegerszeget építünk fel, és minden olyan forgalmi helyzetet próbálunk előállítani, amely előfordulhat a mindennapokban.
We can simulate different scenarios in the daily traffic, and we are building almost 20 hectares mini Zalaegerszeg, the downtown of the city.
Elkészült az autópálya szakaszunk alapszintje.
We have the motorway section here.
Ez egy 1500 méter hosszú pályaszakasz, amely kanyarban végződik, és mindkét fél végén körforgalom van.
This is a 1.2 kilometers long section with roundabouts at the both end and simulating the motorway environment.
A pálya fölött még lesz egy áthidaló híd, amely a rádió zavarást szolgálja majd.
We will plan to build a bridge across this 1.5 kilometers long section.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stefan. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, AVL-ZalaZONE Limited has been in operation since the 1st of November 2019. The new company's mission is to drive the B2B sales tasks of the test track, including industrial promotion, marketing, business development, all in combinations with products and services necessary for delivering the optimum test condition and environment for its customers and partners. Since the Proving Ground's promotion and business commercialization was the reason to establish AVL-ZalaZONE Limited, the company has made its business focus on the customer by combining the required infrastructure, which is in line with the needs of the global automotive market, together with its professional industry-specific management experience and significant developmental engineering competencies. The following presentation provides an insight into the development of the company's strategy and business development plans. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dirk, Janetzko, the Managing Director of the AVL-ZalaZONE Limited.
Thank you very much. So I would like to give you today an overview about AVL-ZalaZONE Proving Ground Limited, the commercial operator of the ZalaZONE Proving Ground. As we heard, the company was established in October 2019. It's a joint venture between AVL Hungary and the Automotive Proving Ground ZalaZONE. The main focus is, as we heard, on the commercial operation. That, of course, also contains a strong focus on the interface to the customer. Connected to that, the project management. So I'm talking about the test campaign management, test project management. And also we see us as the interface to the customer also in a driving seat for further development, innovation, changes in the needs, whatever we need to add to remain as a state-of-the-art proving ground. So I would like also to give you an answer to the question, why AVL? Why is AVL the right partner to do that for ZalaZONE? So AVL List is the largest independent automotive engineering company, and there is a lot of information in this sentence. So I think one of the most important items is that we are really an independent company. We are in private ownership, so not depending on any shareholder. So that gives us also a very good neutral position in that respect. As already a global company, we have a sales and customer network available, which we can address with our testing needs. We have a certain experience in organization and sales of testing environment. It's a huge task, of course, these very comprehensive proving ground, but we are prepared to manage that. I think a big advantage is also the comprehensive global knowledge network in all areas of automotive engineering. So if there is something we need to validate, we need to test, AVL is already doing the preparation for that. AVL Hungary, active since 2002. And since already 3 years, we are operating also in a vehicle engineering and validation center as AVL Hungary already here in Szalay. So I think this is a quite good and fitting package. So what we like to address in our business development strategy that is based on the boundary conditions we find here. Of course, on top, really state-of-the-art proving ground, which is existing here. I have to say smart city, and that is already an answer we get also from our customers, from the OEMs, is benchmark in the moment. So it's also coming out of that a very strong focus on ADAS, autonomous driving, functionalities and connected car, which is definitely the future or one of the future technologies. I already mentioned the AVL Global Engineering Network, but that is very important to give us access to the test specification, to the specifications of the test installations we have to set up. Also, we already, it was known before, but it's getting proved now that really the geographical position in Europe is really an advantage. And one item I have to stress is really the entire proving ground functions available. So clear the focus on ADAS, autonomous driving, but don't forget about the vehicle dynamics, which is still an emerging issue and where we have to support in a lot of development tasks. And this entireness, this completeness of the whole proving ground is one of the assets which is also seen at the customers. So they can provide their vehicles down here and give different engineering companies, tier one suppliers access to them. So they don't have to put all the logistics behind the cars. And that, truly spoken, is also one thing which we have to compete with the classic proving grounds. What is also really a supportive structure is also the environment. So we have very user-friendly treatment of prototypes used on public roads. Of course, we have to take the responsibility that we keep them in a certain, or bring them to a certain maturity that the operation is safe. I think a company like AVL or also the OEMs, tier ones, are able to do that. And that gives us the possibility, so as more as we go into virtualization, as more we have to validate and test also on the real life side, and we have really to do it on the real life side, because we cannot simulate and then predict all the possible use cases that may happen. What's also very good developing is the support in cross-border testing, also a very important topic for the future. Geographical position clearance to OEMs, tier ones, engineering services, so we clearly see the main customers in Europe, for sure. Also, I would like to point out here the Hungarian mobility platform, which is really supporting in different aspects our activities. And finally, also the available local affiliates of OEMs, tier ones, which partly or mainly already have been involved in the specification of the proving ground. All these elements are pushing our business development strategy. And yeah, the final target is this wonderful proving ground needs to be utilized. So our business development strategy itself, I tried to simplify it in just the packages we are planning or we are selling. So, of course, the most simple way is just to rent out the module itself, the asphalt. The customer is doing his testing. Let's say the second step or next step would be that we offer validation engineering packages. And that is, of course, when we access tier one's engineering suppliers, that they can offer the package in combination with our proving ground. But also, of course, AVL Hungary can support in setting up these packages. Currently, we're already developing some of them. One topic to be mentioned is the NCAP testing, so safety functions. Also, what turned out is a very good point, the cooperation with other proving grounds. Maybe it sounds a little bit strange, but indeed, we have the state-of-the-art proving ground in here. We have in the next two phases still some things to design, to construct, but in cooperation with another proving ground, we can use this installation on their side until we have it available. And also later on, I'm very sure that the validation needs in future will extend dramatically. So I don't think that we will really end up then in a competitive situation. We just share the cake. And as long as we are the technology leader, we don't have to fear anything. So, yeah. Driver education and trainings, that looks like a very small, simple point, but also the demands on the people who are doing the test, who are driving the car, in going from the driving dynamics to the limit. Also, to have the psychological effects when they are driving on the backside of an even simulated but often car. So that is an impact on this driver. And if we want to do the testing in the right way and in a repeatable way, we have to train the people that they overcome these feelings, so that they get used to the situations, and that we deliver the correct and repeatable results. And then finally also professional and private events. So that is coming from a student to institutes which want to have a presentation, maybe also OEMs. So I have already a first request of an OEM already also sitting in Hungary, who wants to do the presentation of a vehicle at the proving ground. Is, of course, in part, you should not keep out. What is also important for our strategy is, I already talked before about the local dependencies of OEMs, of tier ones, which were involved in the specification. So we keep up the contact via an advisory report. It's a little bit more than a contact. It's really in partnership with these representatives, so that we are really up to date. What are the needs in engineering sense, but also in the physical sense, and so we can adapt in the current dynamic times. To give you a short status about the customer portfolio, so it's as we are now in operation for roughly 7 months, we see the target portfolio on the right side, the big cake. So that is in distribution, where we said that we roughly 45% will come from the OEMs, mainly Germany. So that's also one estimation we currently see proved, that is it will be more or less 80% of all the customers will come from Germany, Austrian area. We see the tier ones with 30%, engineering service providers with 20%, and 5% remaining for events. So that is also a reasonable distribution. By the way, meanwhile, we see it again that this distribution is roughly met by the RFQs we get in. If we look at the status of really the operation, so if we go to the small cake customer type, we see we have 11% tier one, and we have 90–80% engineering service provider. That is, of course, also because of the current situation. So that leads already to some last words that I want to tell then about the COVID impact on the current operation. Also, it's very interesting to look at the customer countries, which are currently only Austria and Hungary. So that is one OEM, one tier one in Hungary, and Austria, also the blue one, is currently the AVL, I have to say. Good. So, as I said, this is already an hint to the COVID situation. What does COVID mean to us, to our strategy at the moment? So, of course, we are heavily affected by the situation, by the threats, like the border closing in Hungary, Austria, and Germany. We did a lot, and we got also a lot of support from the ministries and the government to, at least for the professional operation, we can open the borders. We generated possibilities to do that, but the problem is the inhomogeneous handling and finally then also the trust of the people that they really can cross the border freely or not. Also, we are faced currently to a very restrictive behavior of customers. There is, in the last 8 weeks, almost no RFQ was coming out. Customers were not really discussing about strategies as we experience it. It's already changing since the last 1-2 weeks. So the RFQs are coming again. Also, the stay-at-home directives more or less are pushing the people in their home office situation, and that also has an effect on the testing, of course. General hesitation of moving, commuting, that's an outcome of the border closing I already mentioned. But for the next future, I see also some chances in this situation. So I think it's clear the validation needs did not change. Maybe if a project is cancelled, whatever, then the need is lower. But anyhow, what we want to bring on the road, we have to validate. So no change in the demands. And what we see not only from the testing side, but also from the engineering side is that the projects currently are mainly postponed, but not cancelled, which means the portion which should be ordered at the proving ground is just moved, but not cancelled. A very important point. Also, the classic proving grounds, like in the past, before COVID, they were already overbooked. Currently, it's not really clear what will be there or what is their current situation. Customers may start hesitating to go there, whatever that can have a positive effect, let's say, on the utilization on our proving ground, and that is also something we already see in some changing requests of customers which were used to go to the classic ones and now see, okay, here I have a certain advantage in the distance. It's closer to me. I have the engineering service with me, and so that is really generating a positive development. As I already said, and I would like to close with these words, fortunately, we already see a significant increase in the RFQs, so we are still in a positive mood to reach the target for this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Janetzko, thank you very much for the positive words and the introduction of the AVL-ZalaZONE Limited. I'm coming from the world of motorsport, and I know AVL is very active also in motorsport. But who thought a few months ago that Ferrari or even all the British-based Formula One teams will make and produce broadcasting or breathing aid equipment? I mean, the world is changing quite quickly. But you know, as always in the motorsport, if you are smart and brave enough to accelerate when the others are braking, you are better than the others. This is the main point and the main message. From the very first moment of the ZalaZONE Automotive Proving Ground, university cooperation has been its inherent part, as the specification and requirements of the test track have been developed together with university scientists. Cooperation has been steadily expanding and broadening over the years and has now become a true international collaboration. Our next speaker, Head of Research and Innovation at ZalaZONE, by the way, the leader of the Automotive Department of the Budapest University of Technology, will present the research results achieved by researchers and scientists in the framework of Hungarian and international collaborations at ZalaZONE. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Zsolt Szalay.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, in my presentation, I would like to give you an overview about the ZalaZONE research and innovation ecosystem. And within that, I would like to mostly focus on the last year's result. In the first part of my presentation, I will explain to you the organization of the research and innovation in ZalaZONE and the activities. In the second part, I will introduce you into the scenario in the loop testing concept, which we believe is the new methodology for the validation of connected and automated vehicles. And in the third part, I will flash up some videos about our recent research results. What is ZalaZONE research and innovation about? The list shows of our activities, and in other words, it can also be considered as our mission, because we would like to carry out cutting-edge research based on the facilities of ZalaZONE. We would like to support and establish here future-proof education, meaning that the future engineers will gain the knowledge that will be necessary from 10 or 20 years from now. We would like to use the opportunity to widely disseminate of our research results. And on top, by incubation and acceleration of the local startups, we would like to create a value by means of knowledge transfer. On the right side of the slide, you can see the overall map of the ZalaZONE facility. And on the bottom left corner, you can see the University Research Center. So this is just beside the Proving Ground, partially within the Proving Ground, because the university small test track that is located on the bottom left corner of the Proving Ground is already being constructed. And the university research institutes are outside of the Proving Ground, but in very close relation to its activities. On the left side on the picture, you can see the ZalaZONE Research and Technology Center, which was opened last year in September. And the facility is a private investment, and it provides an excellent location for university researchers. 3 universities are already there. We are carrying out dual education programs within its facility. There are industrial laboratories on the right side of the building, and we already started our activity by means of startup incubation within this facility. So it provides an excellent location, and you will see what for. Supporting the education of the connected and automated mobility future, we in Hungary worked out and introduced 3 brand new curricula. The first one is called Autonomous Vehicle Control Engineer, a master course taught just in English language, and it is held at the University, Budapest University of Technology and Economics. It is already running since 2 years. It is a ramp-up phase, but half of our students are foreign students. The second one is called Computer Science for Autonomous Systems. It is an informatics-related study, mostly focusing on AI, and it is running at our partner university, Ltd.Dr, also since 2 years. And number 3 is the Vehicle Test Engineer Bachelor of Profession course, which is planned to be started this September here just beside ZalaZONE to provide enough well-educated test engineers for the testing and validation of the future mobility. What we can do more, we can also learn from our partners. Recently, we had the chance to visit more than 40 universities and research institutions all around the world. And we were glad to see good practices there, and we would like to bring it back home and to establish it here in Hungary. So we have established really good relations also with Far East, also Northern America, but mostly focusing on the European partners. We are really glad that the effective collaboration that has been started last year here in the premises of ZalaZONE has already involved a lot of industrial companies and a lot of scientific partners. The logos that you are seeing here are carrying out or have carried out research together with ZalaZONE within the last year, and the number is expanding. Concerning the achieving the result, and the second very important thing is to make it public so that others can also learn from that. And within this mission point, we hosted last year here in ZalaZONE 3 international conferences, and we would like to establish a ZalaZONE related connected and automated vehicle international conference in the future. We also hosting 24 Hungarian conferences and workshops last year, and we also participated more than 30 international conferences all around the world. And with these publications, we reached the number of 65 ZalaZONE related, directly related scientific publications. Within the second part of my presentation, I will show you what we believe, what will be the concept, the testing methodology of the automated vehicles in the future. First of all, let me go back to 2016, so 4 years back from now, when we first formulated the testing and validation challenges and formulated the autonomous vehicle testing and validation pyramid, incorporating 5 different layers. The bottom layer starts with simulation, so absolute virtuality. Second layer is the laboratory testing. Layer number 3 is the ZalaZONE Proving Ground itself. Layer number 4 is limited public road, and layer number 5 is open public road testing. And frankly speaking, we were successful in establishing all these layers. So when we are working together with our partners, they can use the capabilities of simulation, and they can also use the legislative environment in Hungary to use all public roads in Hungary for automated vehicle function testing. To make you understand where we position the scenario in the loop testing, we go back to the very well-known V model of the automotive development, where we are familiar with the model in the loop testing, the software in the loop testing, hardware in the loop testing, and now most famous vehicle in the loop testing. But we consider that not just a vehicle must be tested, but also a full traffic environment. And to be able to create a full traffic environment, we created the scenario in the loop testing based on this phenomenon. What do we need for that? For the scenario in the loop testing, we are using the digital twin architecture. We created the full digital twin, the full digital representation of ZalaZONE, not just the physical facility, which is 1 centimeter precision represented in the digital world, but also we represented, you can see on the slide, our demonstrator vehicle exactly running in the digital twin. So when we are using the scenario in the loop architecture and using the digital twin architecture, it means that if we are running with our real vehicle on the proving ground, at the same time, real time, it is represented in its digital environment. I'm proud to say and also offer you as our future partner the road models of ZalaZONE, which we have created in 6 different software tools. And I can tell you that these road models are open source, so that based on the link down, you can download and you can use, and you are encouraged to use these road models for the software-based testing of different automated vehicle applications. On the bottom, you can also see the full representation of the proving ground. The first one is in IPG KineMaker, the second one in VRES Virtual Test Drive, and the third one is in pre-scan. But as you can see, we also implemented Unity, 3D, Sumo, and the generalized, standardized open drive format as well. What we also learned in the past years is that there is no one simulation tool that can perform all the tasks. We observed that one simulation tool is better in one task and not performs that good at the other task, and vice versa. So for this reason, we are using the so-called co-simulation, meaning that different simulation tools and simulation environment are connected to each other within certain interfaces for real-time operation. So you can see now the co-simulation and control architecture of the scenario in the loop concept, where there is the traffic simulation is generated by Sumo. We are using Python for the runtime optimization. We also use MATLAB Simulink, Unity for the visualization. And on the right side, you can see that for the communication with the environment and with other vehicles, we are also using the so-called Wi-Fi-based ITS G5 technology and also 5G technology, thanks to our partner Ericsson and Hungarian Telecom. And there is a scenario reproducibly available for us. We also need so-called disturbances that are interfering with the vehicle on the test. So within the scenario in the loop concept, we created 5 types of different disturbances. The first one is so-called sensor spoofing. We can implement sensor spoofing, and we can say that the vehicle sensor will exactly feel that there is something real in front of it, even if we inject it from the virtual environment. So we can make the real vehicle sensors feel that something is in front of them, but it is effectively not in front of them, but it is in front of them within the virtual simulated environment. We can also make communication spoofed. Since we are controlling everything, we control the whole infrastructure elements by means of traffic lights and other roadblocks. There are movable targets, also self-developed movable targets, so pedestrian dummies and other vehicles. And on the 5th layer, there is the so-called full control real vehicles, which are full automated and remotely controlled vehicles as a part of this scenario in the loop architecture. We can also categorize these systems as real object and virtual object, or within another categorization used by the control, wireless control or wired control, and also whether they are in an open loop or closed loop control environment. So what do we have at the end of the day? At the end of the day, we have a simulation and control software with the digitalized environment of ZalaZONE as an input. We have the vehicle on the test, providing, having the HD map and providing real-time localization information for the simulation and control software. We have all these disturbing elements, the scene objects, and either closed loop or in an open loop environment, we can create and realize reproducible scenarios for the automated vehicle tests. And just to be able to prove you that it is not just theory, I will also show you the proof of concept demonstration and results of this scenario in the loop demonstration. I will show you a video, and in the first part, the scenario in the loop testing will be demonstrated there. It was performed last year in May, and we were using 5G new radio for the inter-vehicle and the infrastructure vehicle and the infrastructure dummy communication with edge computing. In the second part of the video, you can see some slides of a market surveillance ACC platooning tests that we carried out together with the European Commission's joint research laboratory. Very interesting and challenging test. And at the end, I will show you a recent result of our researches, which we are trying to find the challenges and the solution for automated driving on dynamic limit, because we certainly feel that there will be situations where automated vehicles will arrive on the dynamic limit. And to prove this, that we are able to control that, we implemented autonomous drifting solution. So please take a look at this video. We are using this Smart as our full by-wire controlled demonstrator vehicle. This is our first vehicle platform for demonstration. And when this vehicle is moving, it is parallelly in real time moving in the virtual digital twin environment. There is automatic obstacle detection in reality, but the vehicle can also respond to virtual pedestrians in front of it. Now you can see the virtual environment and on the picture at the same time, the reality. And the vehicle in front of our demonstrator vehicle drives the ACC control of our vehicle on the test. And you can see there is no vehicle in reality in front of us. We could able to perform these measurements. There were 3 different scenarios that we presented during this demonstration. The last one was this automated overtaking maneuver carried out by our vehicle. All these research were carried out by the ZalaZONE research staff together with universities. Now you can see 10 state-of-the-art, very modern vehicles forming a platoon. And the question is whether the ACC system of them enables to use them in the platoon. And finally, please take a look at the results of the Vehicle Dynamics Research Group providing autonomous drifting until the end of the word. Thank you very much. And finally, before I finish my presentation, I would like to point out a very important aspect of our research future. This is the so-called Austrian, Slovenian, and Hungarian trilateral CCAM cooperation, where it is also on a ministerial level, university level, road operator level, and also proving ground level. And there will be a milestone of this cooperation with the Austrian and Hungarian researchers. At the end of June, together with the Hungarian Közút, we will close down a certain section of the highway, and there will be only 10, 12 highly automated vehicles running together, proving that not only the vehicles are becoming more and more intelligent, but also the infrastructure is becoming more and more intelligent. And maybe the future will be that these intelligent vehicles and the intelligent infrastructure will cooperate to each other. Thank you very much for your attention, and I really hope that next year I can also say to you such good results. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for Zsolt Szalay, the head of research and innovation of the ZalaZONE APZ Ltd. I mean, watching a drifting automated BMW, was it the BMW? It's something special. A lot of racing series, almost all of the racing series started its simulator version or e-version of the championships like Formula 1 or DTM or touring car championships. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day who's an engineer, and he said, this is nothing. The next big thing when artificial intelligences will race against each other in a virtual environment. So, I mean, we have to find this out. How can we do this broadcast on the television? But that's definitely a big task. And last but definitely not least, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a few words about the construction, the operation, and the services of the Automotive Proving Ground ZalaZONE. The ZalaZONE project is an outstanding example of cooperation between the industry and the Hungarian government. The project was originally initiated and specified by the automotive industry and started as a government-financed R&D infrastructure project. The standalone layout of the track allows to perform classic dynamic vehicle tests and use cases of automated or connected vehicles as well, as you heard it before. The constructions started back in 2016, and from 2019, the first modules were opened for the users. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, please welcome the company manager of Automotive Proving Ground Zala Limited, who will present the actual status of construction, the operation, and the engineering services. And I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that this gentleman holds the official lap record of the handling course of the ZalaZONE Proving Ground. Ladies and gentlemen, Zoltán Hamar.
Thank you very much. very welcome virtual at ZalaZONE. No, I'm not keeping it. It's kept by a Porsche engineer with a Porsche GT3 RS. So I would give you a short overview. You could already hear a lot of details about the project. I try to make you an overview about all of these fields, what you could already hear, and finally, we prepared a small film to have some inside view in the life of the whole test track. So as we could already hear, the whole track and what we used to say always, and that's the very first and very important thing concerning the project, is that it's a industry-initiated project. It's initiated by the so-called Automotive Working Group, where we formulated our needs, we prepared the specification, and then, according to the financing by the Hungarian government, we could realize this project as a state-financed R&D infrastructure. And I think it's a very, very good and really outstanding example for the cooperation between the research authorities, companies, and the government. That's what we know already from last year. As you know, I'm quite sure, last year, exactly 1 year ago, we already had an opening ceremony at the end of the first phase. End of the first phase meant that we started already the operation on the first elements, which were ready. That time, we opened the dynamic surface, we opened the first part of the smart city and the handling course. These elements are already in use since 1 year. Customer feedbacks are really good. And now we are at the middle of the second phase, where we could open the braking surface, where we could open the internal roads, so-called rural roads, and where we could open the half lane of the motorway section already for the users. It's very important that, as you could already hear, we finalized the whole surface of the smart city, which is more than 15 hectares. And we are going on, and next year we will finalize all the elements. About the project development, as I said just now, first elements are using since 1 year. Till next year, we will finalize the next package, and the third phase will start in 2021. We have buildings, of course. It's very unique that we have a conference center where we are just now as well. Conference centers can be used very well for public events on test tracks. It has a capacity for up to 300 people, and it can be used so for exhibitions as well. Vehicles can be placed in this building, even on this place as well. It's prepared for this type of presentations as well. And then we have the place where the real magic happens. That's the technical building where the developers are sitting. There we have 12 offices, and we have 8 double pass car workshops in a combination with an office beside. And we have a huge workshop hall, workshop for commercial vehicles as well. From last year, we have the dynamic surface size has not changed since last year. It's still 300 meters, and it has a long enough acceleration lane, even for trucks. Here you can see a photo as well with a very heavy truck. And in our film, you will see some examples for truck users as well. Handling course is in use as well. The high-speed handling course. High speed means in this case 120 kph. Customer feedbacks from the last year are really good. This is one of the longest and fastest, or maybe the fastest high-speed handling course in Europe. And just now we started the building on construction of low-speed handling course, or the other name is wet handling course, because it will be used for lower speed wet surface tests. The high speed has a length of 2 kilometers. The low speed will have a length of 1 kilometer, and it will be open for the users in 1 year, next summer. We already mentioned smart city. This is the picture from yesterday, maybe. The whole 15 hectares are ready. And this means we can now already provide all of the traffic situations on the road infrastructure level, which is still missing and will be finalized by end of this year. These are the environmental elements, mainly the building facades, what we will build up. Here we already have a logistic yard. Here we have already a lot of different type and size of parking lots. And we have already a hilly section, and we already have a low-mu section. Why is it important? We already explained it more times, but maybe it makes sense to mention it again. It's important because on one hand, public road testing is very, very important. But on the other hand, the safety critical tests cannot be performed on public roads, because public road testing, of course, is focusing only on the really safe situations and not on situations where, for example, the stability can be lost and the vehicle can spin, for example, or roll over. We have these 5 function zones in the smart city. Function zone 1 is focusing on low speed and parking maneuvers. Function zone 2 is this main road, what you will see in our film as well, to realize complex scenarios with more vehicles and more dummies. And we have then function zone 4. This is for the downtown situations. Here you can see on this rendered picture the model of the buildings, which will be available by end of this year. We will have building facades in a length of over a length of more than 600 meters, up to 3 levels, which means up to 10 meters. We have a suburban zone where we will have lower facades and a T-junction area in the AVL zone. The baking platform is one of the, or even the most important new testing module, what we opened today. As you could already hear, it has 8 different lanes. Importance of braking surface is really huge. On one hand, this is one of the very, very classic dynamic testing elements. It would be, it's used usually, or it appeared around 30 years when ABS systems came on the market. And this is still today used for ABS testing, for ESP testing, stability testing. But if we consider the new challenges of autonomous vehicles, and it's very important as well, because of course autonomous vehicles must handle the safety critical low-mu conditions as well. And it can be tested only in a safe and closed environment like our braking track. And it has some specialties for this reason. For example, we have at the end of the track a connecting road, which can connect the users to the motorway section. So we can test so-called platooning situations where more vehicles are moving, synchronized together. And we can check what happens if one vehicle is losing stability, how the other participants of this platoon are reacting on it. And typically, these are the situations which are not allowed to be tested on public roads because they are very dangerous, of course. Some physical parameters. So the length of the braking surfaces is 200 meters. And we have a variety in the friction coefficient from 0.1. This is a Japanese ceramic tile. And it's the same value like you can find on melting ice, up to very high friction asphalt. And we have some intermediate surfaces like treated concrete, or we have basalt surface as well. Dynamics surface you can see here, but what is important on the picture, that's the motorway section. One direction of the motorway section is open now, you will see in the film. That's a very important part of our project because none of the test tracks has a motorway section at the moment, even worldwide not. Why is it important? Because the new functionalities, autonomous and connected functionalities, are generally started at motorway situations. Highway pilot, or it has a lot of names, but as this is a very closed and a very well-defined environment compared to a city environment, the developers or the OEMs, the manufacturers are focusing on this kind of autonomous driving at first, and later other topics and other functionalities will come as well. Internal roads have the same purpose, to offer a realistic testing condition, like on public roads, but with all the safety which we can offer as a closed test track. It's very important to mention that we will have as a new element, this so-called ADAS surface as well. ADAS surface is a reaction on the changing customer needs. It was not part of the original concept, but what we can see that this test cases where we want to build up situations, and they are coming more and more, needs a lot of preparation, and this preparation takes a lot of time, so it makes sense to make a separated module for it. We will have some new buildings, a petrol station, and a control tower will come next year as well, and this year prototype garage will be available as well. Communication, Professor Szalay already mentioned. At the moment, we have already a running 5G cellular infrastructure for V2X testing, vehicle communication testing, and next year we will have the Wi-Fi-based G5 communication network as well. About the test track operation, as very short, only some words. So APZ as the project company in the middle, we have a business partner, AVL-ZalaZONE. We have an operating company called APZ non-profit company, and there are the R&D institutions, and now this part is led by Professor Szalay. Operational processes. We already started the very basic processes, but we are now in the development. So we have a working risk management. So companies has to define what they will do, and we check if it's safe enough or not. Generally, all of these topics which are listed here are very similar, like on all other already running tracks. So our target is to reach the same level of confidence and safety, of course, than already the users have on the well-established other tracks in Europe. Risk management is important. We have a real-time traffic tracking. It can be on the site, and it has an electronic part as well. We have an emergency service, of course. Of course, we have to maintain the track. It has to be clean all the time. We have security service, and we have a pilot drone detection system. It's important that just now we will start a cooperation with one of the very well-established proving ground manager company, and we will finalize all of these processes. Some words about engineering services, and you will see it in the film more detailed. Already today we can offer basic workshop services. So we have technicians, they can be rented. We can standard workshop. We can offer standard workshop equipment. We have all the equipments for basic axle load measurements or tire services or suspension adjustment. We can offer cold chambers if it's needed by the companies. And we already have a basic set of chargers 5 times. And by the end of the year, we will have a high power charger on the track. And on the engineering side of the operation, we are just preparing the operation for the elements where we can set up complex scenarios, and you will see in the film how it will work. The elements, the dummies, and the platforms which are in the film belong to Bosch at the moment, so but our elements will arrive in summer as well. So shortly what it means, we will have all the dummies, 4 dummies, we will have the platforms to move them, we will have target vehicles, and we will have the equipment to be able to remote control the vehicles. For this purpose, we use so-called robots, steering and pedal robots, and we will have the possibility to remote control some target vehicles as well. And what is the purpose of all of this equipment? The purpose is that we can build up very complex scenarios for the customers, where the customer have to come only with the tested vehicle. It's called VUT, vehicle under test, and then we can build up the whole environment around. So this is the maximum use case where we can integrate all the parts what we will have, but of course parallel we can realize more simple scenarios as well with the same equipment. And please have a look on the film. At very first, I would say thank you for our industrial partners who were open to participate in the preparation of this film. It was AI Motive, AMS Group, Apple, Bosch, Continental, Norbremse, Craftex, Group Vesta, and Befrainland. So at first we will have some short moments about the preparation of the tests and about the facility, and later you will see the running tests as well. So in the main building we have these rooms where we are just now sitting. Every test has to be prepared, of course. The preparation just before the tests is the most important part of the whole process, I would say. And after this planning phase, the test will be realized in real life. So the control of the test track is done at the moment by a smartphone application, as you can see here. And as a redundant system, we have a walkie-talkie system as well. And here you can see that the track operation is controlled via this application remote. Situations what we want to realize, of course we have to plan them, and afterwards there is a simulation part of it. This simulation, of course, is connected very strongly to the higher education, to the university activities, but it's more on the practical side. What is important to mention that, as you can see, we are prepared not only for passenger car users, but for heavy-duty vehicles as well. We have the commercial vehicle workshop with all the equipment, with roller bench, lifter, and with a big enough workshop hall. As you could see here, the preparation of the use cases is important. You can see the pylons. We have to build up the different situations. This is the handling course, high-speed handling course. And when the tests are prepared, and the customer can come, we can start testing. The customers can start the testing. We are already on the braking surface. This is a so-called low-speed situation with one side on the low friction surface and one side on the high friction. This is a typical automatic emergency braking maneuver, which is mandatory in buses and trucks as well. And the tests are performed with this type of dummy vehicles. vehicle backends. In the last 2 years, we had a huge event, so-called Formula Students, which is a worldwide racing series for universities, students. And event in summer with almost 3,000 students and between 50 and 100 teams. These are the pictures of Formula students. We have SC combustion engine series for gas part. They have an autonomous part. Here you can see the vehicle is driving without driver, and they have an electric engine series as well, parallel together. So we started to develop some own equipment as well. Of course, homologation tests can be done only with the homologated tools, but for university projects or for function testing, where we are not homologating the function, only in the first phase of the function development, we can use other tools as well, and this is the reason why we started to develop some own tools. Of course, these own tools are much more cost effective, and they can give a very good compromise in some cases. What Professor Zsolt Szalay already mentioned, we have a lot of cooperation with the universities. This time-lapse video was the building of the facade, which was a project of our students. These are pictures from our smart city. The complex scenarios, what we used to say always. Here you can see the dummy, it's a bicycle dummy. This is an emergency braking system in the truck. It's working fully autonomously. You already have some elements in the smart city, like for example this bus station. You can see how this dummy car is built up. This is a standard element. What you can see here, this type of dummy, this is one of our university projects as well. It was developed and produced by our students. Now you will see some maneuvers on the braking surface. Here you can see the basalt surface, the loam surface. Usually this surface is the loam surfaces are used in wet condition. What we show here that, for example, the loam ceramic is a Japanese style, and this is only produced this quality, homogeneous loam ice. This is a maneuver, a braking maneuver, and the so-called test surface. The test surface has the challenge that the friction conditions are changing between the two sides constantly. The aquaplaning basin, what we have, aquaplaning is a very crucial and very critical maneuver, as we know. You cannot get the vehicle, as you can see here. Like melting ice, even worse. This is a typical maneuver on the mid-split. If the vehicle cannot handle and the driver together the mid-split situation, refurbishing. And last but not least, this is the motorway section where we build up a tuning scenario, as you will see. And made it a bit more funny. As you can see here, the drivers of the vehicles are not driving, but being other activities. Thank you for your attention, and again, thank you for the companies for the cooperation and for the nice moments that we have during making this film. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we all love this behind-the-scenes stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, with this presentation, our conference comes to its end. Thank you very much for our keynote speakers, and thank you very much for your attention, and thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions about the services of the ZalaZONE Automotive Proving Ground, please contact my colleagues here. Thank you very much for watching us. Stay safe, and bye-bye.
Your call will be disconnected.